Welcome back, focused learners. Let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating, completely unscripted moment. I'm talking about President Trump's press gaggle at Joint Base Andrews on August 11th, 2026. Now, if you have ever watched one of these presidential press gaggles, you know exactly how they go, right? They are chaotic, stream of consciousness events. You've got reporters shouting questions over the roar of literal jet engines. Topics are just bouncing all over the place, and honestly, it can be pretty tough to track the core messages. So that is our goal today. We're going to cut through all that noise and distill this specific gaggle into clear, logical themes. To make sense of that rapid-fire Q&A, we've got a quick roadmap for us. We'll be looking at three distinct areas. First up, economic successes and records. Second, the Darlene Graham endorsement. And finally, number 3, addressing a 2028 run. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, economic successes and records. So picture the scene. The president had just stepped off the plane from Ohio, coming right off the energy of the Patriot Games. He called the event a tremendous success with some really great young athletes. But then he immediately pivots to the economy and he leans on a very specific number, 79. He told the press that the stock market is hitting fantastic records, explicitly claiming that his administration has achieved 79 records in a short period of time. You know, in these fast-paced, unscripted settings like a tarmac gaggle, numbers like this act as powerful rhetorical anchors. It's a precise, really punchy data point designed to just instantly project this narrative of economic strength to the press pool. But he didn't stop at the stock market. To really round out that economic message, he hammered home 2 other core metrics. He stated that more people are working in the U.S. right now than ever before and that prices are dropping fast. The big takeaway here is how he chose to frame the current state of the nation. Out of all the things he could have mentioned, these were the specific metrics he threw out to the press to demonstrate that the country is thriving under his leadership. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, the Darlene Graham endorsement. So we're shifting gears from national economics straight into strategic political alliances, specifically the South Carolina runoff election where Darlene Graham had just advanced. The president noted to the reporters that she had clearly emerged as the victor among the primary candidates. And this is where it gets really interesting. He revealed that Darlene had actually called him just 2 minutes prior to this gaggle to thank him for his endorsement. Talk about real time, right? It really highlights the minute-by-minute nature of these events. News is literally breaking and alliances are being solidified right there as he's standing on the tarmac talking to the media. Then he shared this really colorful, personal anecdote comparing Darlene to her brother, Senator Lindsey Graham. He referred to Lindsey as a real professional, but then he pointed out that Senator Graham himself allegedly admitted his sister is, and I quote, better than him. The president noted, with a bit of humor, that this was probably a pretty hard thing for Lindsey to admit, but he used this specific little story to highlight her individual capability, while at the same time reinforcing those strong family genetics. Now, let's look at how he explained the overarching rationale behind this endorsement. He told the reporters, it's really in honor of her brother, and she's really a very smart woman. This is such a transparent glimpse into the actual mechanics of political alliances. He's openly stating that his endorsement decision was heavily influenced by his existing relationship with Senator Graham. It's basically a textbook example of rewarding political loyalty and family ties while also making sure to praise her individual intellect. But wait, we absolutely cannot ignore this next crucial detail. The president explicitly clarified to the press that all the candidates in that South Carolina race are, in his words, Trumpers. So why does that matter for us? Well, he wanted to make it crystal clear that he actually liked the other people in the race too. This shows us that endorsing Darlene Graham wasn't a rejection of the other candidates or their conservative platforms. Actually, it was a highly strategic choice honoring a close ally. It basically demonstrated that his political movement already had a totally secure hold on the entire field of candidates. All right, that brings us to our final segment, Section 3, addressing a 2028 run. This was arguably the most highly anticipated exchange of the entire gaggle. It all kicked off with a very direct question from the press pool. Will there be a third term? Now, this wasn't just some random hypothetical. The reporter explicitly brought this up because the president had recently worn a Trump 2028 hat at a dinner, and he'd mentioned the year 2028 several times in recent weeks. Basically, the press was pressing him to clarify. Were these moments just rhetorical rallying cries to hype up the base, or a serious declaration of intent to challenge constitutional norms? In response, the president immediately anchored his answer, but not in legal theory. Instead, he pointed straight to the raw enthusiasm of his base. He described the specific imagery of crowds screaming 2028 at political events, including the very event he had just attended that evening in Ohio. He literally told the reporters, "Everybody wants me to do it." By starting his answer this way, he first validates the immense demand and undeniable enthusiasm coming from his supporters before he even touches the legal reality of the question. So the really crucial point here is how he actually threaded that needle. He told them, "I'd love to run, but the law is very strong." In fact, he repeated that exact phrase, "the law is very strong," 3 separate times during this really short exchange. We're seeing a highly calculated rhetorical approach here. He acknowledges the constitutional limits on a third term without ever actually shutting down his supporters' excitement. He completely validates their desire by saying he'd love to do it, but points to the law as this immovable barrier. It's a genuinely fascinating way to keep all that political energy alive while technically bowing to constitutional constraints. Which brings us to a final, provocative thought to close out our explainer today. How do off-the-cuff remarks shape our understanding of true presidential priorities? Look, press gaggles like the one on August 11th are inherently chaotic, but they also serve as vital testing grounds. These totally unscripted moments allow political figures to float ideas, test the waters for future maneuvers, and signal priorities to both their base and the press, all without the stiffness of a drafted speech. Whether it's touting 79 economic records, explaining the exact mechanics of a local endorsement, or skillfully navigating the rhetoric around a 2028 run, these raw moments give us a remarkably clear, unfiltered lens into the strategies at play. So, what do you think? Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown. Keep questioning the rhetoric, stay focused, and I will see you in the next explainer.